Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Welcome into the Steelers Talk Live Show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. That's our producer, Mr. Ponzi. Xavier Pon is with us here. He's rocking that Steelers Talk hat like he was born to wear it. Ponzi, how we doing this afternoon, man? It's another day in Steelers Nation.
We got a lot of news today. We got a lot of updates.
Yes,
a
lot of updates.
I'm just excited to, be here on the live show with all you amazing fans. And here we go, Steelers.
Here we go. Steelers is right, my friend. So today, we got two segments for you guys. First one, the latest Steelers news and rumors, all right? So Jakobi Meyers requested a trade today. We'll be talking about that. We'll also have the latest injury updates surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as some punter news as well. The Steelers ended up cutting Cameron Johnston, who was kind of the expected starting punter heading into the year. Corliss Waitman had an awesome preseason, though. He was great last year, and the Steelers save about $2 million by keeping him instead of Cameron Johnston. So the fact that they're going with the cheaper option here, Ponzi, I think might indicate that they want that extra cap space for this season, and that might mean a potential trade might be on the horizon. They might want to go get somebody like a Jakobi Meyers before the start of the season.
I mean, definitely it can be. Waitman did look really impressive in preseason. I believe PFF had him rated as the best preseason punter.
Yeah, he definitely had the most what's it called, hang time. He had the highest average hang time out of any punter in the preseason.
And certainly beating out a punter such as Cameron Johnston, a very very good punter in Waitman. But also, as you mentioned, the cap space, especially with the Jakobi Meyers news, I wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers try to put their raffle into the hat there, if you want to say that.
Yeah, you put their raffle ticket in there, put their hat in the ring there a little bit. There we go. But then we're going to talk about why I think Jaylen Warren is Pittsburgh's secret weapon that nobody seems to be talking about right now in our second segment on today's show. I'm going to break down why I think Jaylen Warren could be a really special player for the Steelers this year and why nobody is talking about him, and they should be heading into this year. So get the party started for us down there in the comments section. Spam me in the chat if you want a shout out. We got over 240 Yinzers ready to talk Steelers football today. We got Dark Knight, we got Coach T, we got Ali, we got Paranormal in the Funhouse, we got my lovely fiance Cassie Voth in here, we got Christopher Domingo, Czar Craig, Steeli is here, we got Steelers Nation, Omar Khan is here, Superfan, Voxy, we got Ali, we've got BSG, TD, Kevin Reed, Braden, we got Geno5, we've got Brian, Christopher, Ronnie, Braden, Elliot, Dustin, Braden, we've got Joe, Ryan, Travis, Fred. We've got a good crew, man. Migo, Rodrigo. We've got Christopher Turner, Ryan. We got Omar Khan, Coach T, Rodrigo, Derek Clark. We got a good crew of Steelers fans here today, Ponzi. So I don't want to make them wait any much longer. But first, before we get into the segments today, guys, donate to the show. If you have a topic, if you have a trade idea, if you have a comment on something that I'm saying on the show, whatever, you guys can put in a super chat today, and we'll make sure to put you up on screen next to me and Ponzi. Also, if we can get to $50 total in donations today, whether it be super chat, Venmo, or PayPal, we will give away one of our Steelers Talk hats. Ponzi and I both have them on. We're going to give away one membership to Steelers Talk Hat Club if we can get to $50 today. If we can get to $50, guys, we will be doing that raffle. But $5 to get into the raffle, $10 to get 3 raffle tickets, $20 to get 10 tickets, plus you get your name on the Steelers Talk Gong that we have been filling up with names all off season long. And if you guys just want to buy a Steelers Talk hat and you guys want to join Steelers Talk Hat Club this year, if you guys send in a $50 super chat, we will send you a Steelers Talk hat. Ponzi and I will sign it if you want. If not, no big deal, and you want to wear it out a little bit more. But $50 donations, you will join Steelers Talk Hat Club, and you don't have to deal with the raffle. You will just buy one of our Steelers Talk hats, and you'll officially be a part of our hat club of fans that truly, appreciate what we do here at Steelers Talk and want to help out our show. And then every $250 we get total today, we will hit the Gong. We really do appreciate your guys' support. And if you guys want to double your raffle tickets today, you guys can send in your donations via Venmo or PayPal. You can find me at Jack Sperry on Venmo or at Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. Also, guys, the reason why we give you guys double raffle tickets for Venmo and PayPal, if you guys don't know, is because YouTube takes a 30% cut of every single super chat you send in. So we actually get to keep more of the proceeds and more of the money that you guys donate when you go to Venmo and PayPal. So if you guys want us to keep more of your donation dollars and we can spend that money on new graphics, on new equipment, on rent, all the different stuff that we have to pay for here at Chat Sports. We greatly appreciate you guys. You can find me at Jack Sperry on Venmo or at Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. And then if you guys don't have any money to spend on the show, that's perfectly fine. We perfectly appreciate everybody that's in the chat, whether they donate or not. But if you want to get in on the raffle to become a member of Steelers Talk Hat Club today for free, all you have to do is give me a follow on Twitter at Jack_Sperry on X. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. Looks like the Steelers have actually made another round of cuts here. So I'm just going to read off the names here real quick here, guys. Linebacker Mark Robinson has been cut, which means Carson Bruner is likely to make this team. Julius Welshoff, the outside linebacker and edge rusher. Lou Nichols, fan favorite running back, has been released. Max Hurleman, another guy that a lot of people were pulling for at wide receiver, he has been cut. Lance McCutcheon is out. J.J. Galbraith, the UDFA out of South Dakota, is out. Stephen Jones, the offensive lineman. Aiden Williams, the UDFA interior offensive lineman. Kyler Baugh, the defensive tackle. Deshaun Jameson, the DB. Darryl Porter, another DB. Ben Sauls, and then Cameron Johnson was also officially announced. So Ben Sauls will be officially cut. Steelers cannot find a trade partner for him. But, guys, I would not be surprised, Ponzi, if we see Sauls land somewhere. Miami's kicker Jason Sanders just went down with an injury. So at the end of the day here, I think that Sauls has a chance to be picked up by somebody. And then Cameron Johnson, I think, almost has a 100% chance of being picked up by someone. Any takeaways from that list of names that we just got?
I mean, obviously, the special teamers. I mean, there's a lot of, Max Hurleman was a notable name of that. He had a touchdown catch, I believe. He, of course, got in trouble with Mike Tomlin for the flip into the end zone. But, he should be practice squad depth. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers bring back a couple of those guys on that list. The shock of the day for so far is Cameron Johnson getting cut.
100%.
Because, I thought he was for sure getting that starting job. But, they go cheaper, they go younger. And I always see Twitter always talking about Cameron Johnson, how he looks like Bill Burr. So,
yeah, he does look like Bill Burr. But I do think Corliss has earned this opportunity. I think that if there's a lot of people that that thought that this wasn't a real competition and they were going to just give the job to Cameron Johnson because he's more experienced, all that stuff. But I actually put Cameron Johnson on my cut candidates list earlier this offseason. Because I understood that if you keep Waitman, who was perfectly fine last year, he was a really good punter for this team, you can save money against the cap and save even more cap space heading into this season. So actually, from a financial standpoint, it makes a lot of sense why they're going with Corliss Waitman. If it really is so close between Waitman and Johnston, why not save the extra $2 million by going with Waitman over Johnston? So it does make sense from that regard. Alex L., $20 says, donate my tickets. So that's 10 tickets right there. Spam those me's if you want a free raffle entry today. That's a $20 donation, so we're still $30 away from locking in the raffle, guys. But spam those me's. We're going to give away 10 raffle entries. First one I'm going to give away is to Mike G.
Mike G, you're in the raffle.
Second one I'm going to give away is to Voxy.
Voxy's in the raffle.
Third one I'm going to give away is to Hot Rod 24.
Regular on the show.
Fourth one I'm going to give away is to Omar Khan.
Gotcha.
Fifth one I'm going to give away to is Chuck Dugan. Sixth one I'm going to give away is to Donna Elliott. Seventh one I'm going to give away here is to Coach T. Eighth one I'm going to give away to here is Beat Boy 14. Ninth one I'm going to give away is to I'm going to go – who do I want to give this one to? I'm going to go Eric Brown. And then the 10th and final one I'm going to give away here is – spam those me's down there in the chat. I'm going to go with Jason Hunt.
Congratulations to all.
So those 10 people, best of luck to you. Shout out to Alex Lanier, already a member of Steelers Talk Hat Club, for giving away those raffle tickets today and putting in the first 20. So we're going to get into our first segment here, guys. Should we get this here? I'm going to send you this thing here, Ponzi. If you want to just make a quick social, and we can just put that right at the end of the punter section at the beginning.
Gotcha.
All right. So just sent it. So we're going to add a little something to our first segment here, guys, with all the new cuts being announced for the Steelers. So just give us a little bit of a second here, or Ponzi makes that graphic. But we got a bunch of stuff in our first segment today, a loaded show. We're going to be talking about the Jakobi Meyers trade request. We're going to be talking about the latest roster moves the Steelers have made. We're going to be talking about the latest injury updates for the Steelers. We'll also talk a little bit about Yahya Black and how he's going to have to step up here in the first few weeks of the season with Derek Harmon and Keanu Benton dealing with some injuries right now. Then in our second segment today, I'm going to tell you why I think Jaylen Warren is Pittsburgh's secret weapon on offense that nobody sees coming right now. And I think he could be the key from turning this Steelers offense from a team that was bottom 10 on the offensive side of the ball last year to potentially a team that could be top 10 on that side of the ball this season. So we're going to get into that here in just a second. Just let me know. Ponzi, whenever you are ready with that. But we got a $20 super chat, and we just got news in the AFC North, actually, guys, where Tom Pelissero reports that four-time Pro Bowler Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals are closing in on a new contract, sources tell me, and Ian Rappaport. So it sounds like Trey Hendrickson will be in Cincinnati this year. He will not be traded. So obviously that's not terrific news if you're a Steelers fan, because Trey Hendrickson's a great player, and we'll have to go up against him twice a year once again this year.
That is not good news at all.
So I was hoping he was going to get traded. It seemed like that situation was not in a good spot, but you know what? This is going to be another Ricky wins here.
I was just about to say that.
Because Ricky has been saying for months that they're going to get a deal done, that Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals, they're going to get the deal done. It's just a matter of time. And, after all this hoopla, after the trade request, after, all the negotiations falling apart, it appears that those two sides have finally bridged a gap. We'll see what that looks like here. But Pelissero now says that they're in the final stages of getting a new deal that will keep him in Cincinnati. Will they do kind of like a Chris Jones sort of situation where they just keep him here for one more year and then he can hit the open market? We'll see if it's a multi-year extension or if it's just a one-year extension. I know that the guaranteed money was a little bit of an issue for both sides. So we'll see what that ends up looking like. I'm sure after this first segment, we are going to have some more news for you guys on that front.
Big news day for the NFL today.
But a big news day, man, for sure. Terry McLaurin got his deal done. So I tried telling you guys. It's not going to happen, a trade to the Steelers. I told you it wasn't going to happen, all right? Just like I told you, TJ Watt was not going to get traded. The deal was always going to get done with TJ Watt. The deal for Terry McLaurin got done just because it made sense. So we got a couple of $20 super chats to get to here before we get into our first segment today, Ponzi. We'll start here with my man Taco Man. Says, what if we traded DeMarvin Leal and low pick for Jakobi Meyers? Yeah, let's trade a useless edge rusher and a low pick that will turn into a useless player for one of the better, more underrated number 2 wide receivers in the game. The Raiders won't take this, Taco Man. I like the way you think. If Omar Khan can pull this off, great. But nobody's going to want DeMarvin Leal. I'm sorry. No one's going to want him. If anything, they might want a backup quarterback with Aiden O'Connell going down with an injury. Could they be interested in Mason Rudolph? Could they be interested in Skylar Thompson? Could they be
a lot of the Skylar Thompson truthers would like to see Mason Rudolph traded.
Exactly. So, maybe they can offer one of those guys up. I also think they could offer up maybe like Calvin Austin III to replace Jakobi's role in that Raiders offense. I think Calvin probably fits better with their scheme than he technically fits with Arthur Smith here in Pittsburgh. So honestly, I could see that being something that could work out for both sides. We'll talk about Jakobi Meyers later in today's show, Taco Man, but you got 10 raffle entries in the raffle today. Appreciate your $20 from Justin Gordon. My man says all the Najee haters will miss his production as none of the Steelers running backs will come close to a 1K rushing yards. JW might get 600 on the ground.
Wow.
Justin, I'm higher on J-Dub than probably you are. Najee was one of the least efficient running backs in the league when he was here in Pittsburgh. His yards per attempt was just awful. Now, it wasn't all his fault, right? The offensive line wasn't great. The schematics and the coordination weren't great in his time here in Pittsburgh. But, if Jaylen Warren gets as many carries as Najee Harris got and as many touches as he got, I think he easily gets to 1,000. We'll see on that. Obviously, Caleb Johnson, as the season goes on, might eat a little bit more and more into Jaylen Warren's workload. We're going to talk about Jaylen later in today's show. But yeah, I think that, your comment here probably, confirms the fact that not a lot of people believe in Jaylen Warren. So I think that, I'm excited to kind of lay out the reasons why I do later in the show here. So we're going to get into our first segment here today, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you guys sending in those super chats. Appreciate Justin with the $20 super chat. You're my guy, man. But let's get into our first segment of the day here, Ponzi. The latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming at you right now. A brand new wide receiver trade target has emerged for Omar Khan and the Pittsburgh Steelers to consider as roster cuts loom on the horizon here in Pittsburgh. Then we'll get into the latest Steelers injury updates on key players like Keanu Benton, Beanie Bishop Jr., Nick Herbig, and more. And then we'll get into Yahya Black, the stud rookie that dominated the preseason for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, and why I think he's ready to step up into a starting role as Derek Harmon, his rookie classmate here in Pittsburgh, is set to miss the beginning of the 2025 season. Before we get into the content today, guys, whenever Omar makes a move here for a wide receiver or any other player, either before or after roster cuts this year, make sure you guys are subscribed for all of our breaking news coverage. We're going to have you guys covered for every signing, every waiver claim, every trade that Omar makes over this week. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And with that, let's get into the show here. And before we get into the trade request for the new trade target for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the wide receiver position, let's talk about some new roster cuts here for the Pittsburgh Steelers that happened today. This is from Mike DeFabo from The Athletic, saying that the Steelers have released 13 players: Mark Robinson, Julian Welshoff, Lou Nichols, Max Hurleman, Lance McCutcheon, J.J. Galbraith, Stephen Jones, Aiden Williams, Kyler Baugh, Deshaun Jameson, Daryl Porter, Ben Sauls, and Cameron Johnston. Now, Mark Robinson, him being cut pretty much confirms that rookie out of Washington, Carson Bruner, who's also an excellent special teamer, is going to be taking Mark Robinson's spot on the final roster. He's younger, he's bigger, he just makes more sense to keep on the roster. And then obviously Lou Nichols had an awesome preseason. Hopefully they can bring him back maybe on practice squad, but I don't think anyone really expected him to, or anyone realistic expected him to make the final 53. And then the other kind of big thing here is the punter situation. Cameron Johnston, I mean, they brought him in on a pretty big contract for a punter last year because they had to replace Presley Harvin III. And, I think most people expected Johnston to be the punter here in Pittsburgh when he got back, including myself. But Corliss Waitman has won the punter battle here in Pittsburgh. And, I don't think that this is necessarily the Pittsburgh Steelers saying, Cameron Johnston's cooked or that he's bad or anything like that. I think that this is them saying Waitman and Johnston are really similar to each other in terms of how good they are as punters, but Waitman is less expensive to keep on the roster. The Steelers save about $2 million in cap space for this season by letting go of Johnston. So not only do you get a high level of play from your punter, but you also pay less for your starting punter. So I actually put Cameron Johnston on my list of cut candidates on my offseason cut candidates video this year, because I kind of foresaw that the Steelers might see Waitman as somebody that's a good enough punter, a starting caliber punter, and want to get cheaper at that position. So I can actually see why the Steelers made this move, but all the reporting coming out was that the Steelers were going to go with Johnston, so this is a little bit of a surprise. But, kind of shifting our focus now to some rumors here surrounding a new wide receiver trade target for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is Jakobi Meyers from the Las Vegas Raiders. He formally requested a trade away from Las Vegas. Today, he has been trying to work on a new contract extension with the Raiders. He's currently making just over $10 million for this year on his current contract. He had a really good season last year, as we'll talk about, and he wants to get paid kind of closer to where he's at in terms of, his value to the team that he's bringing there in Las Vegas. It was reported by Ian Rappaport today saying Raiders wide receiver Jakobi Meyers recently met with the team brass and requested to be traded per me and Tom Pelissero. The team, citing his value, said they had no plans to do so. Meyers and the team attempted to negotiate a new contract, but could not come to terms. And all the reporting out there is that the Raiders have pretty much made no attempt to give Jakobi Meyers a contract extension to this point. And then Diana Rossini, shortly after Pelissero's report, said the Raiders, Steelers, Vikings, and Jets continue to scour the veteran wide receiver market ahead of roster cutdown day, sources say. Okay, so the Steelers are absolutely in the market for the right veteran wide receiver to add to this room. And you take a look at Jakobi Meyers, he would absolutely fit the bill here in Pittsburgh, man. He's going into his age 29 season, so he's not the youngest guy in the world, but good size, 6'2", 193 pounds, one of the best contested catch receivers in the game, one of the best intermediate level threats in the game today. Over a 60% catch rate when catching balls over the middle of the field, so he is not afraid to go over the middle in that intermediate level of the field. So that is fantastic. And, he is seeking a new contract extension. And honestly, even though he's older than guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jackson Smith and Jigba, kind of a similar kind of profile there, as tough guys, as guys that maybe don't have great long speed to beat you deep, but they're really savvy route runners. They have good cutting ability, good, really solid hands to great hands. And Meyers, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the entire NFL right now, and would be one of the best number 2 receivers in the game if the Steelers were to land him. You see, last year he had a career year with over 1,000 yards receiving, 87 total catches, only had 4 touchdowns, but that's because the quarterback play was absolutely atrocious there in Las Vegas. Not a lot of opportunities to catch touchdowns last year, but that average well over a first down there with 11.8. And he's been a productive receiver in this league for a very long time, guys. Easily over 800 yards for the last 3 seasons before last year's 1,000-yard season. So Meyers has been a very reliable number 2 quality wide receiver for a long time. He run blocks. He does everything that the Steelers would want out of their number 2 receiver. So I would absolutely be in on him. Now, here's what I would offer the Las Vegas Raiders if I were the Steelers GM, Omar Khan. I'd offer a 4th-round pick next year. The Steelers have multiple 4ths next year to kind of work with here. And I would offer Calvin Austin III. Right now, Calvin, because the Steelers offense wants their wide receivers on early downs to run block, he's really delegated to a passing downs role in this offense. I think he could maybe play a more every down role there in Las Vegas. Kind of similar skill set to Tyler Lockett, who Geno Smith had a really good relationship with back with the Seattle Seahawks. So I think this move could kind of make sense for both sides. I think the Steelers have the cap space to make this work, especially with the Cameron Johnston cut, all the moves that they have made to create more cap space for this season. I think this move makes sense for both sides, but obviously there will be other suitors. And then in terms of the extension, I would give Meyers a 2-year extension worth $18 to $20 million per season. I'd maybe even be willing to go up to like $23 million per season in order to get this done. But I also want you guys to keep in mind here that an extension could very well still be in the cards for the Las Vegas Raiders and Jakobi Meyers. I mean, a good example of that is Terry McLaurin. He requested a trade this offseason, and what happened? He got a deal done with the Washington Commanders. All right, we saw it with Deebo Samuel with the 49ers. We saw it last offseason with Brandon Ayuk in the Niners, right? Just because a player requests a trade away from a team doesn't mean that an extension is off the table at that point. This very well could be a negotiation strategy from Jakobi to try and get the Raiders to the table. We'll see if it works, but if the Raiders are willing to come to the table, I am absolutely in on getting this guy and making him a big part of the Steelers offense moving forward. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Would you accept this trade to bring Jakobi Meyers to the Steel City? Give me an A for accept or D for decline. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our new sponsor here on Steelers Talk, Harry's. And while I'm talking about Harry's, guys, go down there in the comment section and let me know if you would take this trade to bring Jakobi Meyers here to Pittsburgh. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Harry's. And let's face it, guys, buying razors in today's market absolutely sucks. The quality products are way too expensive, and when you try to save yourselves a couple of bucks and get yourself a lower priced brand, you get dull razors that are terrible after one usage, and then also they irritate your skin like crazy. That's why I switched to Harry's, and you can get Harry's trial set today for only $8, plus you get a free gift at harrys.com/chat. With Harry's, you get a barbershop quality shave with German-engineered blades honed at 3 different angles to cut hair cleanly at the root without any tugging. But what makes Harry's the brand I trust is you get the quality shave without having to break the bank. Harry's owns their own factory in Germany, so there's no middlemen involved, which allows Harry's to pass down the savings to the consumer. And if you don't love your shave, Harry's will make it right. No questions asked. Their risk-free trial means there's zero downside to giving it a shot. And guys, I've been using Harry's products since college. Back in my early days when I was learning which products I liked, all that different stuff, I would either get way too expensive products that were quality, but, they would just drain my bank account, or I would get kind of lower quality stuff at lower prices, but I would cut myself, my skin would be super irritated. But with Harry's, guys, it's a very affordable price. You can, it's reusable blades and stuff like that. So, and the handle you can use no matter how many times you replace the blade. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a great way to save money while also getting a quality shave every single time that you go to the bathroom sink. So for a limited time only, guys, our listeners get Harry's trial set for only $8 plus a free gift at harrys.com/chat. Just head on over to harrys.com/chat to receive our exclusive discount. And after your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. A big shout out to Harry's for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. All right, so now let's get into the latest injury news surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Got a number of updates today from the south side of Pittsburgh, where we have multiple people now over the weekend getting back to practice after missing, different levels of time. Alex Highsmith's been dealing with a groin injury. He's back at practice, and he is expected to be a full go for Week 1 versus the New York Jets in Week 1. Calvin Austin III has been working his way back from a minor oblique injury. He's been at practice. He's running routes now. He's catching punts, doing all the things that Calvin Austin III does. So he looks like he is a go to go Week 1, but obviously that's up to the trainers. Then Juan Thornhill, kind of with a mysterious unknown injury. I'm hoping it's not his calf injury that we've seen over the last couple seasons in Cleveland. Then you get Corey Trice Jr. has been dealing with a hamstring. He's working his way back. And then Dante Kent is also working back from his lower body injury as well. Then you get into Juan Thornhill. Guys, I really hope that whatever injury that he's dealing with right now, it's not calf tightness, because that is what has ailed him the last 2 seasons there in Cleveland. And if you've watched the film on Juan Thornhill during those 2 seasons, it's not exactly the best film, all right? So, you don't want him to be slower. You want him to be at full speed. You don't want those calves to get tight. And, of course, what happens when calves get tight. That leaves players vulnerable to Achilles injuries as well. So we would really not want that to happen to Juan Thornhill, especially because the free safety depth on this team behind Thornhill is not fantastic, all right? I know they brought in Chuck Clark, but he's not the fastest guy in the world. I don't know if I trust him to play post safety. So Thornhill, really need to keep him healthy, really hope he's okay. But he's back at practice and moving around, so it appears like whatever he's dealing with, it's minor. But some new injuries to talk about here. Keanu Benson, the defensive tackle, is dealing with a minor upper body injury. He is expected to be ready to go for Week 1, but he is dealing with a little something right now. And then Beanie Bishop Jr. actually missed last week's preseason game versus Carolina. A very important game for him to play with a lower lower body injury. It might be an indication that the Steelers might be trying to shop him and trade him away before roster cutdown day. We'll see what ends up happening with Beanie. He's got a little bit of starting experience if a team is looking for some starting slot corner or maybe some slot corner depth. So we'll see what happens with Beanie. And then an update on Nick Herbig here from Mike Tomlin today, said that he's still questionable for Week 1 versus the Jets with that hamstring injury that he suffered versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So hopefully Herbig can get back on the field as soon as possible, because we all know how valuable he is as this team's third edge rusher and designated pass rusher. And then some good news on the injury front here. Will Howard and his broken pinky appear to be getting back here. He was throwing at practice today. He was a kind of limited participant. He wasn't a full participant yet, but Mike Tomlin said today that he is trending towards full participation very soon, and that he probably should be ready to go by the time we get to Week 1 versus the Jets. So that is bad news for Skylar Thompson, who I think the only chance he makes this team is if they trade Mason Rudolph to the Raiders, in a trade for Jakobi Meyers. That's a possibility, but I do think if you have Mason Rudolph and you have Will Howard ready to go for Week 1, I think they waive Skylar Thompson, and he probably gets picked up by another NFL football team. Had an awesome preseason. He deserves to be on a 53-man roster, but I do think this team values the youth of Will Howard over a guy like Skylar Thompson. Then we get to whether or not they should shop Skylar Thompson, which I absolutely think that they should. I think that the Steelers should shop Skylar Thompson if they can get a 7th rounder out of him. If you're going to waive him anyway, if you can get a 7th round pick for Skylar Thompson, maybe from the Las Vegas Raiders, or include Skylar in a trade for Jakobi Meyers, you can certainly do that. And I think there are teams that would be willing to potentially bring in Skylar as a third quarterback option, or maybe even a QB2 option, because he played great during the preseason this year. Over a 70% completion percentage. He had almost 500 yards passing in those 3 games. Also, 166 yards per game when he essentially played a game and a half of total reps. 4 touchdowns to just 1 interception. So he played very well during the preseason. He deserves an opportunity to be on a 53-man roster this year. And if the Steelers can get a 7th round pick out of that and out of him, that would be absolutely fantastic. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Will the Steelers trade, cut, or keep Skylar Thompson this year? Type T for trade, type C for cut, or K for keep. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. For me, I hope they can get a 7th round pick out of him, but I would say probably the most likely scenario at this point is he ends up getting cut and picked up by somebody around the league. Then we'll finish up here with some thoughts on Yahya Black, the big tummy himself. Yahya is an awesome player, guys. He was always a great run stuffer at Iowa, but it seems like he has added some pass rush moves and some great power to his game that we didn't really see coming out of Iowa, and I think a lot of it has to do with his pad level, which looks phenomenal. It looks way better now in the preseason than what it looked like on his Iowa film, and the people that have watched both can attest to that. But he needs to step up early this year because of some injuries to Keanu Benton and some injuries to Derek Harmon. That's going to force Yahya to play more snaps than maybe was originally forecasted by the Steelers coaching staff. And the good news is, guys, I think he's ready for that action, all right? Like, his ability to take on 2 players, to these double teams that, frankly, Keanu Benton has had a little bit of an issue with at times playing nose tackle, but Black still has, the pass rushing savvy. He had an awesome push-pull move to get to the quarterback against the Panthers last Thursday. He's got a great bull rush. He was winning from 7 technique, which is like a defensive end alignment. Like, Yahya was doing so much during the preseason run defense. He batted down a pass. He was getting into the backfield with pressures. Like, this guy just looked really, really good, and I have to credit defensive line coach Carl Dunbar for developing this young man this early into his NFL career. I mean, frankly, if I'd have to choose between Yahya Black and Derek Harmon based on the film, which one was the first round pick, I would have told you it was Yahya Black. Like, he was that impressive on his preseason film. And he was still dealing with a little bit of an elbow issue as well, so maybe not that full potential have we been, allowed to see yet. So I'm very excited about Yahya Black. With some of these kind of minor injuries that the defensive line is going through, I have every confidence in Black to be able to fill whatever role this Steelers team needs him to as a quote-unquote starter to start out this season. And I'm very excited to see what Yahya Black and Derek Harmon as the new defensive tackle duo here in Pittsburgh for the future is going to be able to do in the years to come. All right, that's going to be it for today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors. Thank you guys guys so much for making it to the end of today's show. Tomorrow is roster cut down day. We're going to have full extensive coverage of the full initial 53-man roster for the black and gold when it comes out tomorrow. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button for that extensive coverage. All right. So we have some news.
Yeah. We have two news.
Amari Cooper is going back to the Raiders. What's the other news?
Trey Hendrickson officially signed, and you called it exactly.
What?
1 year deal.
1 year deal I told you, man. I knew it because, like, if the sticking point was guaranteed money, it just makes sense for these two sides to come together and be like, how about this? Fully guaranteed 1 year, and then next year you can test the market.
So it's close to $30 million. I don't know anything of the guarantees or anything about that. But, yeah, breaking news, Amari Cooper comes back to the Raiders. That's someone we talked about the Steelers bringing in, But this is good news for the Steelers because he can fill Jakobi Meyers' role. So this tells me that, the Raiders have told Amari, we're giving you a starting position on our team. All right? And if that's the case, then you've got Brock Bowers, who's essentially a slot receiver for them. You've got Trey Tucker. You've got Jack Besh. You've got Dante Thornton. Theoretically, they could have Cooper and Jakobi Meyers on the same team. But, like, Cooper is somebody that I think can fill Jakobi Meyers' role pretty nicely. And the Raiders might be thinking, hey, we can get Amari Cooper for a season. It's a 1 year deal, right? I'm almost certain it is. Yeah, 1 year deal.
Yeah, 1 year deal. Okay, that makes sense.
Because we heard something in the
and then they can trade away Jakobi.
Yeah.
And they can get a decent draft pick out of him. That makes a ton of sense to me, man. Like, if the Steelers can, the Raiders will probably trade Jakobi Meyers to the highest bidder, is probably what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah. Now, for those of you that might be upset that the Steelers didn't sign Amari Cooper, just realize, we talked about it in today's show, today's AM video, Ponzi. He doesn't run block, so that's just not a fit for a starting role on this Steelers offense. If you can't run block or don't want to run block, he's not somebody that likes to do that. So that wasn't a great fit. And then B, he would have wanted to get number 2 reps with this football team. I think the Steelers like Roman Wilson. I think they like Calvin Austin III. I don't think they necessarily want to delegate either one of those guys to 3 or 4 status unless they can get a guy like a bona fide number 2, like a Jakobi Meyers at their price. So whatever their price is, I think it's like a 4th round pick. They might offer the Raiders a 4th round pick and then maybe Calvin or Roman, either one of them, probably Calvin, in exchange for Jakobi Meyers. And then, Calvin Austin to me is a better version of Trey Tucker.
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately too, you could make an argument that Mason Rudolph maybe makes that pick a little bit lower, of like maybe a 5th in Mason Rudolph. But I
don't think so. Backup quarterback.
I mean, that's true, but Mason Rudolph does have quality starts in the NFL.
Plus, I don't think Aiden O'Connell will be out that long. He'll be starting the season on IR at least 4 weeks. Too. But like, I think they would want Skylar Thompson over Mason Rudolph, honestly.
I think so too.
Because Rudolph has a 2-year deal. I don't know if the Raiders want a 2-year deal for a backup. Plus, the Steelers love Mason. So, like, I think they're planning on cutting Skylar Thompson anyways. So I think they might just include Skylar Thompson as like a sweetener in this deal. Like, could we see something like a 4th round pick, Calvin Austin III, and Skylar Thompson in exchange for Jakobi Meyers? I could see that. That's a potential package that could work.
You should have heard one of our producers here, Jeremy Chuggs. He just went, woo! And like just in the middle of the recording. We heard it and we were like...
It startled me a little bit. If you guys saw me get startled during that last segment, it's because Jeremy Chuggs was just screaming in the office here. $5 from Taco Man says, who should I take with my first pick in the fantasy draft? Chase, Bijan, or Barkley? I would take Chase. I mean,
I'm avoiding Saquon Barkley this year.
I'm avoiding Saquon too. He gets injured a lot. He's coming off a season where like he had a lot of workload. And if you listen to the history of the league, the leading rusher with all the carries and all the touches, they end up getting hurt the next year just because it's a lot for their bodies to take on. And you can only go so long and take so much punishment before your body gives out. So I would go with Jamar Chase, more stable. That Bengals team is going to be passing the football a lot this year. That defense is going to keep them in a lot of shootouts. So I would go with Jamar Chase. $2 from Firebug92 says, could we get OBJ if we can't trade for Jakobi? Yeah, we could. I think OBJ wants to play for the Steelers. Now, my question with OBJ, Ponzi, is he okay taking a wide receiver 4 role? Because that's what he would be here. I think this team thinks that Roman Wilson's better than OBJ right now.
And I think, with OBJ, a lot of the frustration that came with last year was the Miami Dolphins didn't really fit his offense anyway. But, he barely saw rotation there. And I don't really think he gets that here either.
Yeah, and, if you want to bring him in as a backup 4th, 5th receiver, in the same tier as Scotty Miller, where if somebody gets injured, you can put him in at any spot. He can play X, he can play Z. He's played both throughout his career. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he does run block. He's over 200 pounds. He's not the tallest guy in the world is what I should say. He's pretty big for somebody that's just 5'11", but, he's just not what he once was, right? So as much as the aura would be off the charts to have OBJ on the team, he'd be on the sidelines if you bring him in. Most likely, I don't think they would give him starting reps. But whereas a guy like Jakobi is still somebody that is playing at a high level, over 1,000 yards last year, fits what the Steelers want to do to a T. Great run blocker, tough hands, tough player over the middle of the field, great contested catch winner, can be a great safety blanket for Rodgers. I would much rather trade for Jakobi than sign OBJ at this point, but that's just me. We got any more? I think we got a Venmo too. Yeah, we did.
Get to that? You can send me that while I get this next one.
Sounds good.
Now my phone just went off, and I was like, "What the?"
Yeah, no, it was going crazy.
Because the Trey Hendrickson happened middle of our recording, and then right after that, 5 minutes later, we hear commotion.
And 16 minutes ago, take this for what you will, but Andrew Filipponi says that Nick Farabaugh, so Nick Farabaugh is the beat reporter for Penn Live, very reputable source, says that the likeliest receiver that the Steelers could trade for is Allen Lazard from the New York Jets.
That makes sense.
So Lazard stinks, but he's got a ton of experience playing with Rodgers. He's Rodgers' guy. He can play X receiver if DK Metcalf goes down with an injury. I honestly think if they trade for Lazard, he would be, he would get into the rotation, but he would be wide receiver 4.
I think so too. I mean, I get it. Allen Lazard, Aaron Rodgers, everyone says it, but it's also one of those things too of I think there are a little bit better options on the trade market right now.
I think so too. I would kick the tires on Jakobi Meyers, Adam Thielen, Tyreek Hill, Jawan Jennings. I would be kicking the tires on all of those guys before I went and got Allen Lazard, because Lazard is okay when he's with Rodgers, all right? They do have a chemistry with each other. And if you're looking for somebody to come in late, not have as much of a preseason to build chemistry with Aaron and be on the same page week 1, that's where it would make sense to me. But he stinks. He's not fast. He's not a particularly great route runner. He doesn't have particularly great hands. All he is he's just big. And he has chemistry with Rodgers. Those are the 2 things that he brings to the table. And he can run block a little bit. But there are other receivers that I would much rather pay a higher price to go get. But it does make sense to me, though, Ponzi, in the fact that, maybe the Steelers don't want to give up more than a 7th round pick to get somebody. It sounds like the Jets are looking for veteran receiver help in their own right. They don't want Lazard there because I'm guessing he's not on the same page with Fields, because Fields can't get on the same page with anybody. And if he's out the door, the number one place I'd want to go if I'm Allen Lazard is to Pittsburgh.
That's true.
With Rodgers, my guy. So I guess you could do worse than Allen Lazard, but anything more than a 7th round pick you're giving up for him is too much.
I feel like you could get Thielen with a 6th or a 5th.
Maybe. Yeah. They wanted a 4th last year for him.
Yeah, which was kind of crazy.
And the Steelers very wisely did not do that. But $2 here from Robert Locks is rapidly becoming a Ponzi fan. Let's go. Everyone's becoming a Ponzi fan, man.
Gotta love it. Love y'all here.
And speaking of Robert Locke, $20 super chat, a Venmo from Robert Locke says, looking forward if Pittsburgh got a good wide receiver too. Sorry, it just glitched out on me here. Robert, let me get it back. Robert says, or Kirk actually says, looking forward, we can go to Kirk's here. Kirk says, $10, looking forward. If Pittsburgh got a good wide receiver too, what do you see as the next weakness to fill? There's a couple different options, Kirk. You could get some more help at offensive tackle, especially if Calvin Anderson is not going to be ready to go for the start of the season. You got Andrus Peat, who played well during the preseason, actually. Very good film from him as the backup offensive tackle. But Dylan Cook, not so great. So if you're looking for somebody to put on the initial 53 that's not Dylan Cook and Calvin Anderson's going to have to start on IR, you could maybe grab one of these, Carter Warren is somebody that's out there the Jets just released. He's a former Pitt Panther. Could see him be brought in here. There's also some other kind of swing tackle options that are out there now being cut. But another option that I could see them get is post safety, free safety. Chuck Clark can technically play free safety. He's played there quite a bit in his career, but at this point he's slower than what he once was. I don't know if I trust him to play in the post if Juan Thornhill goes down with an injury. So if they wanted to bring in another safety, that could maybe make some sense. But honestly, I think that their focus right now is to get another receiver and to add a sixth wide receiver to this group and somebody, namely, that can replace DK Metcalf as the X receiver in this scheme if he goes down with injury. Because they don't have that guy right now, right? You got Calvin, you got Roman, smaller guys. They can't play X. And then the only kind of bigger receiver that is expected to make the roster is Ben Skoranek, and he's not a receiver. He's more of like a blocker and special teamer. So, they need that person that can come in and play X if there's an injury.
That was the problem last year that we were talking about.
Yeah, that was a problem last year. I mean, George goes down, and then, you have Scotty Miller replacing him at X, and it's that's not going to work, man. Why are we doing this?
You have three slot receivers out there, basically.
Yeah, and you had Mike Williams, but it kind of felt like Mike had a tough time picking up the offense.
Yeah.
So they just didn't trust him out there, which is unfortunate. But, you got to get somebody in there, man, that can be that backup X receiver. It looks like Kyle Trask is going to be hitting the open market. He's going to be cut by the Bucs.
Florida legend.
According to Jeremy Fowler. So we still have another segment to get to here, Ponzi. So let's get into that. Continue to super chat. Continue to get those comments in there. We will continue to take questions. If more news comes out during this next segment, we will talk about that on the other side of the break. But definitely a lot of movement in the NFL as it's happening right now. So we got over 500 people watching live right now, guys. So thank you so much for joining us today. Coming up here, our next segment, I'm going to tell you why I think Jaylen Warren is the secret weapon of the Steelers offense that nobody is expecting anything out of this year and why you should change your mind on that. Let's get into it. Nobody is talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers' secret weapon on offense. And right now, there is nobody from even local media to national media that is talking about this guy as somebody that is as important to the Steelers offense as he is. And today, I'm going to be breaking down why I think this player is going to be so important for the Steelers offense this year and why he has the ability to take this team and this offense to the next level this season. Now, before we get into the video today and I reveal who that player is, make sure you get us started down there in the comments section and let us know. Who is the Steelers player that no one sees coming this season? Let me know your guys' pick down there in the comments section. And for my pick for today's video, I'm going to go with running back Jaylen Warren, all right? And Warren is expected to go into the season here as the RB1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, I feel like a lot of people kind of view Warren as a decent player, but more of a third down back because that's what he did here in Pittsburgh for his first 3 seasons while Najee Harris was also here, right? So going into this year, I think a lot of people view the running back room as a downgraded unit, but I think the Steelers were very intentional about letting go of Najee Harris and elevating Jaylen Warren into this role because I think he's perfect for the wide zone system that Arthur Smith likes to run, all right? To run a wide zone system, you need a running back that can make fast and sudden cuts. You need a guy with great vision to identify cutback lanes and somebody with really good acceleration to get through the hole and then, get to the second level and make explosive plays happen. And, we haven't seen too much outside zone run in Pittsburgh in Jaylen Warren's time here. Even last year, Arthur Smith ran way less wide zone than he usually runs. Plus, Jaylen was dealing with injuries last year, which hindered some of his participation at times. But Jaylen Warren's been one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL since he entered the league. And a lot of people just don't know about that. A lot of people don't even know his name if you're not a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Jaylen Warren is one of the most well-rounded, balanced, and efficient running backs in the game. And, to kind of illustrate that, Jaylen is only one of 3 running backs over the last 3 seasons to average over 5 yards per touch. So that's rushing attempts, and that is passes caught. In terms of the targets, 5+ yards per target. He's only 1 out of 3 running backs in the last 3 years since Warren entered the league to have a yards per touch over 5. Also, he's number 2 in the league in explosive run rate. So if you're looking for this run game to be more explosive than it was with Najee Harris at RB1 this year, well, the solution might have just been right behind him in the rotation because he was number 2 in the league in explosive run rate, where, of course, you get runs at explosive rates there. Then you get to the number 6 ranking over the last 3 seasons in yards per carry. So he's one of the most efficient running backs in the league when he is getting carries. All right, he breaks tackles. He's fantastic after contact. He's got great cutting ability. He's got phenomenal vision to identify open lanes. And, I mentioned his yards after contact. He's number 6 in that category as well. So his contact balance, his agility to make people miss with his cuts and jukes is phenomenal. He's got a great spin move where he can spin off of defenders as well. His arsenal to make defenders miss at any level of the scheme there is phenomenal. And Jaylen Warren is one of the best in football at doing just that. And as a result, he's number 6 among running backs since entering the league as a UDFA, by the way, in success rate. So really, really good at getting the yardage that he's needed to be able to keep the offense on schedule, moving the chains. I mean, back in 2023, he was the best offensive player for the Steelers that year. They could not throw the ball down the field to save their life outside of George Pickens. But many times on 3rd and longs, they could just dump it off to Jaylen Warren on a screen pass on a 3rd and long, and he would pick up a first down. He is that dynamic in space, and now he is your number 1 running back without Najee Harris taking up a vast majority of the running back carries. And, kind of putting that potential into context, guys, of all the highly ranked efficiency numbers that Jaylen Warren has had over the last several seasons, if he can maintain that efficiency with a higher volume, maybe not quite as much as what Najee had over the last several seasons, but even slightly less than that, he's going to be a top 10 producer at the running back position in the NFL this year if he stays healthy, all right? If he's able to make guys miss the same way that he has been able to in the last several seasons, if he's able to catch the football the way that he has been able to and make guys miss in the screen game the way that he has been able to, if he's able to, be one of the best in the league at an explosive run rate and yards after contact, all these areas that we just talked about, he has a chance to be a breakout star in the National Football League this year, and that could lead to the Pittsburgh Steelers potentially having a top 10 run game this year. And if that happens, guys, and you pair that up with a defense led by a perennial defensive player of the year in TJ Watt, as well as other star players like Cam Hayward, Alex Highsmith, Jalen Ramsey, and more, we're going to be talking about a team that's going to be able to kind of play similarly to the Philadelphia Eagles, where you can dominate up front, run the football when you want to, and then dominate on the defensive side of the ball and just absolutely beat the living crap out of opposing teams. All right, so if that happens, guys, and Jaylen Warren can ascend to that next level this season, we're going to be talking about one of the best teams in the National Football League this year, especially if Aaron Rodgers in the passing game can get going in the play-action game after Jaylen Warren in the run game get things going. And, you can see last year that this team tried to run the football at a really good rate. I mean, they were 6th in rushing attempts per game. They were top 5 in rushing rate. Then you get to the yards per attempt, 25th. All right, so they tried, but they just couldn't get the efficiency going with Najee Harris leading the way. The EPA, the events metric there, they're in the negative at 24th in the league in rushing EPA, and then the success rate last year was 28th. So they had one of the least efficient run games in the league with Najee Harris leading the way last year. And despite, Arthur Smith really trying his best to get this unit going last year. So if Jaylen Warren can turn that around and, you still have this same number, 6th in rushing attempts per game, but you can also be like 6th or at least top 10 in these other categories here, the Steelers offense is going to be cooking with gas here in 2025. So coming up here on Steelers Talk, I'm going to be discussing Pittsburgh's running back dynamic. How does Caleb Johnson fit into this discussion? What about Kenneth Gainwell? How much of the carries is Jaylen Warren going to get versus those other two? And how is this dynamic going to evolve as the season goes on? I'm going to answer those questions here in just a second. But first, a word from our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And guys, regular season football is right around the corner, and college football is officially here. So don't miss any of the action this football season with Prize Picks, which you can download on your phone for free right now, and you can sign up for free as well on their app. Personally, guys, I think the Steelers are going to be exceeding expectations this year all across the board. Aaron Rodgers, Jaylen Warren, who we're featuring today, DK Metcalf. I believe in these guys, and if you believe in them as well, spam those mores on your Prize Picks projections this year. Prize Picks is super simple to play. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to $2,000 times your money. Prize Picks also puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports this football season. Join the millions of users that are already signed up and sign up for free today. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup with Prize Picks today. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. So you might be saying at home, Jack, you're talking about Jaylen Warren. What about Caleb Johnson? I think part of the reason why nobody's really talking about Jaylen Warren is because everyone's enamored with the rookie talent here out of Iowa, and for a good reason. I think Caleb is going to be a fine running back in this league and a future number 1 back for this offense, all right? This is not an anti-Caleb Johnson video. This is more of a pro-Jaylen Warren video, and I think that he is going to start the season as the true RB1. I think we did see signs that Caleb might be seeing things a little bit too fast in the preseason, and this coaching staff may feel like he needs a little bit more time to cook, and because of that, I expect Jaylen Warren to get early down carries to start the season, or at least most of them. I do think Caleb will get some rotation in the early weeks, but it won't be nearly as much as maybe some people are expecting. Jaylen Warren will get the lion's share of carries to start this season, at least in my opinion. And then I think for early in the season, on third down work, I think that they'll go to Gainwell, okay? Caleb Johnson, not a good pass protector and not a good pass catcher at this point in his NFL career. He's still developing in those areas. I would say Caleb is more of a true early down running back at this stage of his NFL journey. But Kenneth Gainwell, man, you can put him out wide in motion before the snap, and you can use him as a receiver. You can use him on screens. All these different things that you want your third down back to be able to do. Kenneth Gainwell is able to do all those things. So I think if you have Jaylen Warren as your early down back and pretty much your true RB1, and then when he needs a break on third downs, you can put Kenneth Gainwell in there. And like I said, guys, I do think KJ will have chances to prove himself, and increasingly so as the season goes on. All right, if there's an injury to either Jaylen Warren or Kenneth Gainwell, God forbid, that means Caleb Johnson is going to assume pretty much a starting role with this team, and then he's going to have the opportunity to keep it if he earns it during that time. So KJ is going to have plenty of opportunities this year. The Steelers, I think, are just not going to rush it heading into the year, and hopefully by the end of the season, we see Caleb take the opportunities that he's given, really make the most of them, so that by the end of the season, you can kind of get to this ideal setup for the Steelers' run game this year, where you get into playoff time and you are going up against the best defenses that you have faced all season long, season's on the line. You're trying to get the first playoff victory for this team in many, many seasons. I think the ideal setup for this run game is you have Caleb Johnson as that bigger early down running back. On early downs, you run the crap out of wide zone, which he's really good at. I thought Caleb showed some really good things during the preseason this year. And then you get Jaylen to be that third down back that he has been so good at in his first 3 years here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And honestly, guys, if Caleb Johnson is good right away, we could be talking about maybe the best running back duo in the NFL as early as this season, okay? I really do believe in these two guys that much. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for Caleb to get those reps, but once he earns it, I think we could be looking at a setup here that could lead to the Steelers being one of the best run offenses in the league this year. So let me know down there in the comment section, who's going to be the leading rusher for the Steelers offense this year? Will it be J-Dub, type JW, or do you think it'll be Caleb Johnson who comes in and takes that RB1 spot? Type KJ down there in the comment section. I think by the end of the season, Jaylen Warren will probably have more total yards than Caleb Johnson does. But I think, heading into 2026, we're talking about Caleb Johnson as this team's number one running back heading into that season. All right, that'll be it for today's show, guys. If you're as excited as I am for this Steelers season, man, and if you're excited about J-Dub as much as I am, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're going to be covering all the latest surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers every single day throughout the 2025 season, whether that's trade deadline rumors, whether that's injury updates, whether that's weekly previews, whether that's our live watch parties every single Steelers game day. We give you guys the most extensive fan experience for Steelers fans anywhere here on YouTube. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, $2 from Robert Locke. My man says 540 watching and only 125 likes. What is that? Get on it. I mean, right now we're at 155 likes, so pretty darn good. Not terrible. But we still have over 500 people watching, Ponzi. We got to get that number up, man. Let's go.
Get some likes here. Get to 200. Give away a raffle ticket.
Yeah. All right, we'll give you guys 2 minutes. All right, 2 minutes to get to 200 likes. We got 487 people watching live. If we can get to 200 likes right now, we will give away a free raffle entry. We got Justin Gordon says JW stats will drastically decline without Najee, just like Juju's did without AB. When D coordinators are planning for you, it's a different ballgame. I think they were planning for him before. What's different about that, Justin, is that Najee and J-Dub were not on the field at the same time.
And they're not the same type of running back.
Yeah, they're not the same running back. That's 100% right. So, like, with Juju, he was affected because AB was consistently getting double teams when he was out there. And when he took that away, more attention went to Juju. All right, but, there's just one running back on the field at any given time, right? So it's a completely different dynamic. And I think, Justin, when you watch the film on Najee versus J-Dub, Najee had some struggles with vision. He didn't have great acceleration at all, and he didn't have great long speed either. So, what I appreciated Najee, because he would lower the shoulder, he would pick up extra yardage, he was a good run blocker, or a good pass protector, I should say, and he could catch the football a little bit too. He's not a bad player. I'm not here to shit on Najee Harris. All right, but Jaylen Warren, man, his efficiency numbers have been off the charts. There's been certain moments where he has been the best offensive player on the team. All right, his ability to make guys miss, his contact balance, his shiftiness, his vision, his ability to catch the football from the backfield. All right, all of those things make him one of the most dangerous players on the Steelers offense, period, when he is healthy. All right, so I'm really excited to see what he's going to do this year, Justin. You might not feel the same way, but I appreciate you sharing your difference of opinion. And I think we'll just agree to disagree on that. But we appreciate you, Justin. You know how I feel about you, man.
I mean, I kind of compare it to Zeke and Tony Pollard. I feel like it's kind of more of a comparable dynamic. Zeke was more of a Najee type of player. Power back. He's going to try to get you those tough yards. But Jaylen Warren should be that shifty type of straight runner where he's able to get, not saying he's not powerful, but saying that he can make players miss, he can break tackles, and he can provide a spark for this offense, as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, exactly. He's been super impressive. And now last year he did deal with some injuries. So, I kind of understand why some people have forgotten about him, but people forget, man. Like, he was probably the best player on the Steelers offense in 2023. When he was catching those 3rd and 13 kind of dump-offs, and then he would make 3 guys miss to move the chains, like, he was the saving grace to that terrible Matt Canada, Kenny Pickett offense that season. Like,
Kenny Pickett did dump off the ball a lot to him.
Yeah, and you look at the explosive run rates between him and Najee, it's not even close. Even on early downs, you look at the explosive run rates, it's not even close. So, I think J-Dub has been, frankly, the best running back on the Steelers for the last multiple seasons, but they kind of felt like Najee was kind of that Derrick Henry pound you into the dirt type of guy where he could take on a very heavy workload. And, I think this year we will see kind of Caleb take some of those types of reps as well. They won't give Jaylen as much of a workload as they did Najee because he is a smaller back. But, I think Jaylen has a real chance to be potentially a top 10 producer at the position this year if he can stay healthy. And I'm sure some people will disagree with that because, some people really like Najee and they just don't want to admit, that Jaylen is good or, can be a number 1 running back. But I'm a believer in J-Dub. I think he could be this team's secret weapon on offense. And if he's good this year, guys, if he's a top 10 running back, that could be the difference between the Steelers being a good team and a great team this year. So I'm hoping he can show the world what he's capable of doing because his efficiency numbers are just off the freaking charts. All right, man, do we have any more super chats here?
I do not see any. Should we put the shot clock up?
Yeah, let's put the shot clock up here. 2 minutes. Let's go 2 minutes. So if you want to put the donation menu up here. So we're going to do our raffle here in 2 minutes. If you guys want to get in on the raffle, $5 to get in, $10 to get 3 tickets, $20 to get 10 tickets plus your name on the gong. Yeah, man. So if you guys want to get in, this is your last call, 2 minutes, and then we'll get on it.
I do see someone saying should the Steelers get Shiloh Sanders.
No. Shiloh Sanders stinks. I would.
You know what? You know who's calling Shiloh Sanders right now? His dad at Colorado.
Yes, to be a coach.
Exactly.
Listen, man, Shiloh, I know, for some reason, if you got the last name, if you got a certain dad, people will believe in you or whatever. But, I was at Shrine Bowl practices this year, and I think he did not win a single rep in one-on-ones versus and by the way, Shrine Bowl, they tend to have kind of a lower level of college kind of talent. Usually the Senior Bowl gets the best of the best and the Shrine Bowl kind of gets the leftovers, and he was losing versus those guys consistently. All right, he is not an NFL caliber player, so that is a big fat no for Shiloh Sanders. If they didn't want Shadur, why would they want Shiloh?
Exactly. I mean, you don't want that drama.
Punching people in a preseason game, man.
I mean, it's just also, I don't know if you kept up with Brown's Twitter, Sperry. The conspiracy theory about Shadur Sanders.
Oh, yeah. Browns fans are in shambles, man. All I heard all offseason was he's going to be their savior. And remember, after the first preseason game, people were like, he's the next...
Sperry was wrong.
Yeah, he's the best quarterback in Browns history. Chill out, Cleveland Browns fans. And then, you know what I said, Ponzi? Do you remember what I said? I said after that performance where he threw 2 nice touchdown passes, all right, he had 2 nice plays. All right, give him credit where credit's due. I said this is a good thing because Browns fans are getting their hopes up and they're about to be crushed, all right? And they are definitely crushed right now. They're crushed to the point where they are, they're making excuses for him. Oh, they're making terrible play calls for him. Oh, they're setting him up for failure. Rule. All this different stuff. It's just absolutely ridiculous. He stinks.
He is one of those players too. Honestly, I had I think I had a 4th round grade on him. And that was only because of the reason that, his name's good. His only thing is accuracy. He's good at delivering the ball. But I thought that, at best, he projects to, Rex Grossman levels. Of, he does not have the arm talent.
Listen, man.
And if I'm throwing Rex Grossman out there, it's kind of bad for you as a quarterback prospect.
They just ran such a college-y style of offense there at Colorado. There's a lot of quick game, a lot of easy reads, a lot of manufactured completions, not a lot of arm strength. He bails out of clean pockets more than maybe any other quarterback I've ever seen. He drifts in the pocket more than just about anyone I've ever seen. Doesn't have any pocket presence to speak of. He will, when he has his first read, he will stand in there and deliver it and take a shot at times. But, like, I don't know, man.
I just don't think the arm talent's there.
Arm talent's not there. Frankly, athleticism's not there. Like, he had college defensive tackles, like, chasing him down. And, like, this is the guy that, like, on the first day of draft day, Ponzi, you weren't here yet. People were telling me I was an idiot for not wanting Shedeur Sanders at number 21. I mean, can you imagine if that guy was here right now playing as bad as he played? I mean, if he was the next quote-unquote franchise quarterback here in Pittsburgh, I mean, if Ryan Clark got his way, this team would not be in a good position right now.
No, exactly.
Like, we are in a much better spot because Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan didn't listen to the people at ESPN and didn't listen to Ryan Clark and all these guys that wanted the Steelers to draft Shedeur Sanders. Like, it just would have been a terrible fit. It just would have been terrible. All right, let's give away a hat here.
Here we go.
All right, so those are all of our entries today. Let's spin that wheel, and let's get out of here, Ponzi.
Let's get a shuffle. And here we go. Who are we giving a hat to? My man, Eric Brown.
Eric Brown, are you in the chat, my friends?
Let's throw up that L3 of Sperry's email real quick.
Yeah, get my email down there. Eric, are you here? Eric is here. Let's go. Eric, you just won a Steelers Talk hat. We're going to put my email down there right below me here. Ponzi's working on that right now. Just send me an email with your shipping address, and we will make sure to get you your Steelers Talk hat. Let us know if you want me and Ponzi to sign it or if you want it clean so you can wear it out in public or whatever. Just let us know. Sperry at chatsports.com. Eric, congrats to you. You have a Steelers Talk hat coming.
And you are a part of Steelers Talk Hat Club.
Yes, you are a part of Steelers Talk Hat Club, so congratulations. We are going to see you guys later. We'll probably be back live on, I would say, Thursday. Ponzi's actually getting married on Friday. Is that right?
I'm not married. I'm getting the
certificate.
Everything.
You're getting your birth. You're getting the marriage certificate on Friday.
Yeah, and then I'm getting officially married on the 31st of October.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. So he's going to be going to the courthouse on Friday. So shout out to Ponzi and his fiance. So we'll see you guys on Thursday, normal time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully by that point the Steelers have their wide receiver move figured out. We'll see. They'll have their initial 53-man roster. That's what we know. So we'll see what they end up doing. But definitely going to be an interesting next few days. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button for any breaking news that happens. We'll see you guys on Thursday for the next live show. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.